Well, welcome to the final session of the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood series review. This is Weebenomics. I'm Scott Loudon. This is my co-host, Steven.
Steven Vorvangsing.
I feel like we're going to get this. I feel like
I maybe picked it up this time.
I feel like after it's like almost 10 years of knowing you now, I actually know your last name. I don't think I like legitimately knew your last name without looking at your phone contact until these last like 5 weeks.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the same way. When you first announced your last name on stream, I was like, oh, that's how you pronounce it.
You're like, that's Scott. Like, that's his only name.
It was,
yeah. Same. Okay, so hopping into it, we kind of talked lightly before immediately getting into the podcast session that the final episodes are 12 because we are late for this start because someone apparently forgot that it ends with 64 episodes. So
that's me.
Yeah, so now that you apparently literally just watched the last couple episodes, how did you feel? How did it wrap up for you?
I want more. I don't want it to end there. I want to see what happens out east, what they find out east, what they find out west. I want to see what happens when they bring it together. I want to see their journey. I want more.
Do you feel like you want more because you didn't feel like it was like a satisfying conclusion, or like you felt like it was missing something, or you're just like, I just enjoyed it, but I don't want this to end because I'm enjoying it?
I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel satisfied because I feel like they're going on this journey. They've opened this whole new plot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for Nina, right? Oh, we're not good enough. Alchemy can't figure out a way to separate this, and they're going on this whole new journey to figure out how to separate Chimera. Is that right? So I'm like, oh, can we do this? Like, please enlighten me.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that like that was your take on it, right? Like, because I understand it, right? And they finished the series with the two different guys in their party that also are Chimera, and they want to get their bodies back too, right? So it's funny because like I didn't latch on to that thought process. But also, how did you feel about that Instagram clip where I sent you someone at a con as Nina in the dog suit?
That was brutal.
If I can, I will try and find that, and I think because I sent it to you, I might be able to like add it into this so everybody can see it.
You're gonna traumatize a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I was just so pre-warned about that scenario that like wasn't as I can understand it being sad. Like I'm empathetic to it, but it wasn't like as tragic. I feel like if I was like 11 years old, for sure. Like I remember I got a VCR or VHS, not VCR. Wow, a VHS tape when I was like not even 10 years old of like a Pokemon, like a series of 3 Pokemon episodes. And it was like the one where like Charmander's like flame tail was going out. And
that's when he first sees him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember literally like crying before going to school. My mom was like, oh my God, what did I just do?
You know, I think I did cry too.
I was so young. I was trying. So I imagine like if I had seen that scene at that age, I could feel that trauma level then.
Because I feel like the cartoons we were watching back then, they weren't at that kind of emotional level, I think.
I was not prepared for it. I went from Pikachu to like Charmander almost dying. I was like, what is this?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I guess getting back to the series, yeah, that wasn't the place where I left off, being like, oh, I'm so curious, like what's going to happen with like the Chimera.
Uh-huh.
I think honestly, I was really annoyed that Ed left.
Well, what about why?
Because I was like, well, yeah, but like Al didn't have a relationship with someone who was staying.
That's true. He was chasing May for sure.
Yeah, like he was going to go to May. So like to me, I'm like, Winry and you have basically just finally confessed that you two are going to be together, and you're like, deuces. He also got so mad at his dad for leaving, and then literally leaves, you know, the apparent love of his life.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So I'm like,
it does the same thing. Yeah.
my brain is like, you're
Well,
literally recreating. I mean, I know it's not your kid, but
it's kind of weird because the timeline wise, right? Because like they leave, oh, the train station scene, right?
mhm,
They've just confessed their love or
mhm,
whatever, and then you go to the credits, you see that there's a happy ending there. They got
yeah.
kids. What's that time frame?
Didn't it say like, oh man, oh
I
well,
don't think it said.
we talked about it, right? Because I googled it when we were last week. So like, it's
Oh,
2 years later they get married
wait, 2 years.
after he leaves with the trains, like on the train.
That's 4 years after the fall. Oh, okay.
So he's probably like 18 when they get married.
Probably no.
Yeah.
Probably when they have kids.
Well, the picture has them having kids. I don't know if the picture was like another few later years after that. I'm just saying the timeline. The
Oh,
timeline that I saw
yeah, yeah, yeah.
had Ed and Winry getting married
Gotcha.
at that timeline, and so that was 2 years after the end of the show
Yeah,
was
I
when they
wish
get married.
if I had more time, I would have checked the manga and be like, I think there's like one more chapter. To I think there was like another. There's something else, like a one shot or something after this, but I don't remember what it went over.
You don't own the Full Metal editions, right? Like the special
No,
editions,
I
and
wish.
those look beautiful.
I need to, let's say, move into a bigger space,
Yeah,
and then I will buy them
I know. I'm
because I
struggling.
cannot move around with those things.
Oh, with the manga books,
Yeah.
I've done it, and yeah, I mean it does suck. But the good thing though is when you move, you can like let's say you went to a different state because I did this when I moved from Boston to Oregon. I was able to ship them as media with the USPS, and so like I say it
Oh,
was not expensive. It was like $30 a box to go
yeah,
across
yeah.
the country.
I forgot about that
Um,
option.
yeah, it just has to be just books, right? It just has
Yeah,
to be just
it
like
has to be
media.
just
So,
books. Yeah,
but they're the boxes are freaking super heavy because it's full of books, and
yeah. I'll just
you know,
shatter that box.
yeah,
Well, I
you gotta like protect it as much as you
yeah,
can, right? So,
I had
um,
textbooks when I did that, and that was rough.
yeah, but I just need physical space. I think that's my
Yeah.
thing. Is like I sent Katie like this reel of like a guy who had an entire loft, and it was just like wall to wall board games and bookcases and like figures and stuff, and I was like, oh, like this would be
Yeah.
sweet. And she's like, yeah, if like we had like an awesome like game space like that, it would be sweet, but like my office I can barely get like 3 bookcases or 2 bookcases in. So
Uh,
that's the struggle for me, is like I want to display stuff, but like I just don't have the physical space in the
yeah.
office to do it.
I
But
just want one fat bookcase. That's one of my deep wants.
I just want like a library.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. But yeah, I feel like I need a home that I'm not going to try and leave,
Yeah.
for
That's here.
20 years or whatever to
That's
like
here.
fully build that out. But yeah, so going back to
Yeah.
Ed, I was
What?
really yeah, I was upset with him. I was like I get it, but
Uh,
I just was like she can't come. You can't stay for a little bit and then you figure like
yeah. Why didn't she go? Why not?
I don't that's the thing. I'm like what's holding you in Central?
Yeah.
So
Or no, where Resemble?
well, yeah, that's like their home, right?
Yeah.
Like where Pinako or whatever lives. But yeah, I didn't understand that ending for me. So it didn't feel. I mean, it definitely had a conclusion, like for that
Yeah.
story. Like it didn't have.
For that
I
story, yeah.
I also would have just loved if like they had, even if it was like during the end credits or whatever, their marriage. Like I feel like that would have been such a better send off for
Oh
the
yeah.
series, to find like because I get the pictures because the pictures are also like they're a nice like loop back to the beginning where like Ed had the pictures with his dad or whatever and his mom. So
Yeah.
like fully get that, and I think that could still have been there, but I would have really liked to have seen the wedding because I feel like it would have been a good way to get people back together. They could have had like all the people back together at the
Yeah.
wedding.
Wasn't there like? Oh yeah. I thought there was one photo that did that. And so I think like all those photos we
There
see at the
is,
end credits. Oh
yeah,
yeah, I think there was one.
yeah.
All those photos we see at the end credit, I think they're like snippets from that last missing chapter.
Well, maybe you should reread that and
I
confirm.
should. I wish I had more
You're
time.
supposed to be the manga reader, so
I
I mean,
need.
I'm a manga reader as well, but you know what I mean. In this case, no, you obviously saw I sent you the pictures. I got the first two colossal editions of Attack.
Okay, yeah, oh yeah,
Super excited. I looked through them and immediately was like, Steven's wrong. This is not horror. Um,
yeah.
no, I have not made a judgment, but
Damn.
I'm very excited to start digging through it for sure.
How big are they? Ooh, that's sizable.
Yeah, it's like the same size as the Berserk Deluxe editions. It's just not hardcover, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But it's 5 volumes in one for like, I think I got them for like $28. So
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
not going
That's
to be
nice.
it's like half the cost of the singles.
How many volumes are there again?
There's 7 of those colossal editions.
7 of them. Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
wish
like
I had
30,
space.
so like 35-ish singles. I'm not sure, like somewhere in like the between 32 and 35 probably for the singles.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I'm stoked for that. In terms of, do you remember, I guess, because I think this would be like an interesting point now that we finally finished, if there was something in the manga that either, okay, so I'll do this in 2 ways. I think apparently that I now think every time I have one, I'm like, nope, just kidding. There's 2. So one, do you remember anything from the manga that you feel like was omitted, that you like blatantly remember was omitted and not in the anime? And 2, what are your thoughts on, because I read, I don't think I actually sent you the article. I meant to. Apparently that ice Alchemist from the first episode is not in the manga.
Yeah.
Like at all.
It's not.
So let's start with 1, right? Where do you remember anything, and then we'll dig into 2. But so
I think we kind of maybe we mentioned it off stream. I think they're missing a little bit about Mustang's ability.
Yeah.
Right? They don't really specify how he's doing his alchemy
at all.
At all.
Yeah.
And his unique and his let's see, his capability. In the anime, they do state it, but it's so twisted. It'll just go right over you. I think it was the episode when he was finally confronting Envy.
Yeah.
So essentially, what the anime missed was Mustang's ability, how to differentiate his flames.
Yeah.
So one, his right hand was the power hand, which was less accurate, and his left hand was the opposite. It was the accurate hand with less power.
Mm-hmm.
So in the anime, they kind of briefly go over like, I have pinpoint accuracy. I wouldn't use high power flames right next to me. It was very subtle, very, very subtle.
Yeah, I didn't even like when he said it. I didn't even like read it as that. I just
registered, right?
All I registered him saying was like, "You didn't think I could aim."
Yeah,
right. Like I did not like perceive it as like, oh, they're different hands that have one's power or like one's potency and one's precision, right? Like that went.
But the anime did show you, like when he was aiming for the eyes, Envy's eyes, or specific spots, you would see that he was using his left, and when he was just blowing shit up, he was using his right. So I was like, oh yeah, that's subtle. I don't know if anyone would notice if they didn't read the manga.
Yeah.
So that's one. I can't really think of another one. I don't know if in past streams I've mentioned them, but I don't. No. Yeah, you did mention the ice guy. Like, I don't recall it. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there.
It's not. I mean, like the article really dug into that not existing and it being, but I'm kind of glad it was. Just because I think it really, like, I struggle sometimes with the animes that like really start slow.
Yeah, that was the only reason why.
Like certain ones that take like 2 to 3 episodes to like kick into what's happening. I'm like, okay, like I get it. It's not so hard, but there's animes where I've literally watched an episode and been like, yeah, I'm good, and then I don't watch it. Right. So this is probably different just because it's so highly rated that I probably still would have done it, but like. I thought it was a good way to kind of get you invested quickly, even if it wasn't. and like kind of like what we talked about, where it's like he did bring up like you don't even know what's happening, right? And so
Yeah.
I think it started the conversation without you even knowing it. And I think that that's a good story tactic to kind of like foreshadow, like you know something shady is happening.
Yeah.
You just don't know what for a very long time. It would have been nice if there was maybe like a callback to that moment in the anime because they don't really ever call back
Uh,
to his scenario.
he does. There's one moment. I think there is one moment that Ed kind of goes back to that. I think when he finally realizes what's going on with the country, that they're making a giant transmutation circle, he has like a 5 second memory of that. Oh, I think it was just like a little voice
Yeah, I
of
mean,
him.
maybe like I guess then maybe if that is true because I don't remember it, right? But like, so if that happened, maybe something more substantial, like a more concrete
Uh,
connective, tissue to it. Like, I don't know. Like, it would have been interesting maybe if there was like a 2 minute section where they're like, oh my, like this is what he was talking about, um, type thing. Because like I know all those moments are like they're little eggs that you're supposed to pick up on, right, and stuff like that. And
mhm.
I get those, but I sometimes like them to be a little bit clearer. um, for me, I don't know. I'm an idiot. I forget things. But no, I thought it was good. A good introduction to the series, and I also feel like it added a power, which is the other thing because I feel like
Oh,
I going back, I think I expected a lot more variation of abilities.
hmm,
And I don't really feel like that panned out. I feel like we got the ice guy right away, we got the fire guy, and then we got a whole bunch of earth bending.
yeah.
Outside of that, like I don't really feel we like. I mean, you get Ed fixing crap, like him touching a radio and fixing it, and like creating walls. But and I
But
guess there's the gun guy who creates like the cannons.
yeah,
But I don't know. I would have. I think there's a lot of room. I feel like for there to have been more variety of alchemical combat abilities because you see the alchemy stuff change it up a little bit,
yeah.
but not
I
wildly.
the way I look at this that whole thing is kind of, yeah. They are a military state, and they are more focused on using their alchemy for military aspects. But I feel like this may be like an early adaptation of that, instead of being maybe 300 years further into the future. There could be more variations. That's how I look at it. That's why I wasn't too bothered with it. But yeah, it was kind of boring, especially when Mustang finally learns his, you know, gets the no circle ability.
Mhm.
The second thing he does is makes a wall,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is very handy." Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think, and this is probably like something not appropriate to do, but I obviously compare it to other anime. Like I think of like Hunter x Hunter, right? Where I do think like the Nen abilities are so varied and so completely
Oh
different.
yes,
And I'm like, I love that. It's like so creative and like
yes.
abilities that somewhat seem not specialized or not useful are turned and completely amazing. And so I find those to be a little bit more interesting personally,
So
than
this
just
is
the outright like explosion, fire, ice.
yeah. This is why I'm still a little hungry for more Full Metal, because I want a little bit more in depth use of alchemy, a little bit
Yeah,
more sciencey stuff.
yeah,
That's why I'm a little bit more hungry for it.
yeah. I could definitely agree with you. I think for sure I would be invested if it dug more into that. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. How did you feel? Because I think we lightly touched on this last time, so we don't have to like dig on it for too long. But how did you feel about Mustang's decision to be like, I'm not going to be the Führer until I completely resolve the relationship with Ishval?
I find it, I don't know, silly, just to put it lightly. I just
Mm-hmm.
like, why not become the Führer and fix it,
Yeah,
instead of working your way slowly? Like, I understand you're kind of cleansing your soul because you want to repair that damage,
yeah,
or whatever. What would it, repent for your sins? But like, it was such a weird way to go. Like,
Yeah, I didn't
mm,
understand like
the reasoning, I
yeah,
didn't buy into it. I
like
guess
what does him not being fear make happen more than if he was the Fuhrer and me. Like the only thing I can think of is that
yeah.
maybe he feels like if he was the Fuhrer, he just wouldn't have the ability to be in Ishval to try and repair the relationships. Like he wouldn't, he'd have to be in Central all the time.
I
Um,
mean, I'm sure as like the king, your hand would be able to reach very far.
yeah, I also just feel like it's not going to be his thing to repair that relationship. It's going to be like Scar and I think Miles is the guy's name from Briggs,
Miles, yep.
right? Like I feel like those two are going to be the ones who are like,
I'm
we're going to try and repair
he could
that
have
relationship.
easily had them part of his team
Yeah,
as the Fuhrer. Like I don't get it. Like why couldn't they just be like ambassadors to that?
yeah, yeah. I that was one of those where I'm like, I don't. I, maybe there is some really good reason, and I just don't. I'm not
I
picking up on
didn't.
it or not understanding.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Also, like, we get no closure on the relationship between Riza and him.
Oh, dude, I remember at the credit they showed him with Riza and his little mustache. I hated that so much. I hated it. Like, come on, why are you gonna do my boy like that, man?
But like, they don't show them like in a
Yeah,
relationship.
they don't. I don't
They
think
don't.
even the manga does either. It just kind of just. I believe I've seen too much like fan pics, so I don't know if I'm remembering like or fan
Yeah,
made or the actual story.
yeah. I mean, I don't remember anything honestly, and I feel like I was kind of looking for it because I was like, oh, like I feel like the show's kind of alluded to that becoming a thing once they're done being in harm's way every 5 seconds.
Uh huh.
But
Oh,
then it doesn't do
here's
it.
another thing. Super tiny. Do you remember the dog, Riza's dog?
Yes.
There's actually like a small little story behind that. So like I think in the anime she just has a dog all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, right? I think in the anime the guy with the glasses, remember him?
What? Oh, the
Part of the
guy with the
same part
glasses?
of the same team. I forgot his name.
Oh, like the nerdy-ish guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he found the dog.
He found the dog.
He found the dog and he wanted to bring him like into the office or something. And they're just trying to sneak him around. But the fear, not the fear. I think Mustang was like, I think he hates dogs. I think, and
Well,
then
so rude.
I know, right? And then what? Riza like kind of looks after him, and she's Riza being strict. She just disciplines the dog immediately, and the dog starts listening. That's it. Super minor, but she suddenly somehow adopts dog, and that's why she has a dog in anime.
Okay. And does it follow that through line in the manga?
Yeah, it
Okay.
follows after that. It's just like
Okay.
the backstory of finding the dog. That was it.
Yeah. Also feel like any of them in those positions having an animal that needs care is probably not great. I mean, it's such a silly thing to like have to worry about because it's like a fictional show, but I'm like,
Oh,
in my mind, I'm like, you guys are probably working all the effing time, especially like as a Fear's assistant. Like, you're
huh.
probably not home very much, and you have this
Oh,
poor animal
when she got
moved over or
hostage.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Let's see.
so the other, so okay, this goes into the next big topic of we'll break. We can break down what the best fight that we thought was in the series, but just before we dig into that, how did you feel? Because we've lightly touched on it already. The fight between Mustang and Empy.
Oh, I feel like everyone should have minded their own business. I feel like
What do you mean?
I feel like as in Riza and
Oh, okay.
Scar
I
had
remember. Yeah,
no
yeah,
business
yeah.
being there.
Trying to
Like
stop him from
trying
killing
to
her.
this,
Him.
or he was getting revenge for his buddy, man. Not only for his
Yeah.
buddy, the late wife and the daughter. I mean, like, come on. You think?
I yeah, I also don't. What did him not killing Envy? Because it's like he'd already killed a bunch of people, and I guess
Yeah,
they didn't want him to kill in that much anger.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't understand why it was such a big deal if he
Didn't see
roasted
it.
Envy.
They were fine with Lust just vaporizing there
Yeah, but again, I think the difference there was probably that he didn't do that one
with hatred.
explicitly out of
Yeah,
straight
yeah, yeah.
anger. But I mean, at the same time, she had just paralyzed
One of those
Havoc.
guys. Yeah.
So, like,
Well, I don't think at the time they knew that he was paralyzed.
well, he knew he was
He,
messed up.
he
He
was at
didn't know
least
about his
almost dead.
paralyzed,
Yeah, yeah. No, he was alive. That's right.
but
Um, yeah, I just felt like he had no business there, and he died anyway. And like, no
who
one
died?
got
Oh, Envy, yeah.
enemy died. Yeah. Oh, here's one. Um, I think after Envy gets all mad, she's about to die. I felt like Envy was the most human of the homunculi.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the most time was given to Envy to be humanized. Like by far, that was the one homunculi, maybe other than Greed. But I think even with
Greed.
Greed, I think Envy still had more
Yeah,
exposition, honestly, than Greed.
yeah, because Greed just like what at the end he was looking for essentially true friends or true partners, comrades. I mean, friends is a
Yeah,
better
that was
word.
so tropey, honestly. Like,
Oh,
I get it and it makes sense. I
uh-huh.
just am like, I wanted something else. I wanted something not conventional for Greed.
What was rats? Um, not sin. Um, what? What? Or how Envy Greed had their thing. What was
yeah,
rats?
I don't know.
Because Salem was very easy. Pride, right? He was prideful of being. He had a lot
But
of
like,
pride
I
in
could make the
being
same thing about Sloth. I
Fullmetal.
mean, Sloth had
Oh
zero
yeah,
like
Sloth had
backstory
nothing.
at all.
He was he was just to be
he
a bad gate, and that was it.
he also is not Sloth like at all.
Oh, I was thinking of Gluttony. Yeah, Sloth had nothing.
Yeah,
Either,
I mean,
right?
even Gluttony didn't have much of a story either.
I was thinking of Gluttony. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lust poorly used. Um,
yeah. Lust, see, like Lust could have been like, what if she had like finally had a real relationship with someone or something, and that's when she dies, and she's like, I just fucking got,
yeah, that would have
There's
been
so
pretty
much
good.
they could have done
Yeah,
with each of those characters, but yeah, they Envy by far was the one that you could tell that they had put that work into.
that was pretty good when she died and realized that. Also, a very poor way to use envy in that fight just before that scene.
I agree.
It could have been so much more fatal.
Yeah.
I call it what are plot armor? There's a lot of plot armor there.
Well, that was another criticism I've seen about the show. Like after I finished it and I kind of like read some other things, is like they're like
Mm-hmm.
the biggest weakness that the show has is that they've required Ed and Al to stay alive, and that was the biggest piece of plot armor
Oh
that you
yeah,
could
it was
do
very yeah. Good point. Yeah,
because it's like if you can't kill them, then like yeah, obviously they're gonna keep trying to screw shit up over and over and over and over again.
and they let him. And they were like, "Oh yeah, don't do it again."
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it again.
yeah, yeah. Like they could have like. There's so many things that they could do. I feel like to try and get around that plot armor, but obviously they don't want to like impede them because this is their story. But yeah, I didn't. I think after reading that, I like really like reflected on it, looked back, and was like, wow, yeah, that was actually pretty egregious. Um, but I mean, I guess they kind of bring it up in that time when they use Scar as bait, right? Because they're like they know they won't let us die,
Mm-hmm.
so like I guess they're at least acknowledging it. But
We'll use this plot armor to further the plot.
yeah, it was interesting. I wasn't huge on it,
Oh man,
but
that kind of bursts one of those bubbles for me. Damn.
yeah. Um, worst fight. I shouldn't say worst fight. Worst fight of this section, the Fear.
We at the end with greed.
Yeah, I hate. Well, not with Greed. Well, I guess with
So
Greed,
no, not with greed. With Scar. Oh, which
but with Scar. for sure. I mean, I get the reveal, but I just was like, first of all, I still don't understand why the attack from Buccaneer was fatal. Why wasn't he healing?
Oh, you know, I know. I think we mentioned this. So like, it's weird. So remember the scene where he gets converted into a
Mm-hmm.
homunculus?
Oh, where it's like
Remember?
just his soul or something? Is that what you're trying to bring up?
No. Just looking at the volume of the Philosopher's Stone they used,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, now fast forward to like the last, oh, maybe like the third to the last episode, when Father comes out and he's looking for souls,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he needs souls, and then
Yeah,
he uses his Sith powers to life steal,
yeah, yeah.
right? And I think he's absorbed like 10 people, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they show you the stone that he made, and it
Yeah,
was super tiny. It was like 2 grains of sand.
yeah,
So that's 10 people in there, and there's this vial here. How is this one vial only one soul? If Bradley was only one soul,
yeah. I don't know. So I guess
that's why he couldn't heal. I would
yeah.
assume.
So is the argument that he just had only one life and he was always susceptible to death?
I think so.
Interesting.
Because they would only be the homunculus would only be able to heal because they had soul, philosopher's stone
Is
energy.
that why he would age? Because he only had the one soul, or is that just something else that
No,
the
I think
show
that's
just kind of
something
used?
else. Because
Yeah.
Hohenheim, when he was down to his last soul, he just faded. He didn't age.
Hohenheim was one of those characters who I felt like had a decent conclusion to the show.
I think he had kind of a bittersweet ending.
I just don't understand. So like he didn't communicate with Ed and Al earlier because it was just dangerous.
Oh, I forgot. He said that he was offering to use his soul, right, to recover Al, and he was saying he feels bad because it's partially his fault that it ended up that way, and that was because he had to leave. But he
Mm-hmm.
had to leave because he knew what was happening in Central. Um,
But what was he doing the entire time? Because it doesn't really.
well, I think what he was doing the entire time was he was making that huge transmutation. I'd say huge transportation circle to return or to counter the souls being stolen if it were to happen.
I don't even remember. What transmutation stone or circle did Hohenheim create?
So that's the kind of like trick. So okay, so you remember that they essentially they lose, right? Father gets his way, sacrifices the sacrifices, and makes a countrywide philosopher's stone.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hohenheim's like, I got you. All this time I've been preparing for you to do that. And then it shows I don't know if you remember that scene where he's kind of like walking around at night or he's someplace at night and he kind of goes into his body and rips out a couple philosopher stones and just goes to the ground. And then next scene, do you remember that?
God, no.
No. So what he was planting philosopher stones all around the country, but he potted them perfectly in a circle. But the father was saying, "Oh, you can't activate them; they're just stones." And then Hohenheim goes, "There is a circle. The eclipse shadow is my circle," and and then
Wow.
activates his trap card, his ace in the sleeve. Where now that it's been activated, is some sort of circle that or transmutation circle that returns all the souls.
Wow. I feel like I like that so much less, but that makes at least makes me semi understand what was happening. Because I
Yeah,
feel like that whole moment I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening,
because
dude.
it actually I had to watch it a couple. I finally this is like my third time going into this, and I finally understand kind of what went down in the last like 20
Yeah.
episodes. Like so, Hohenheim essentially that was his counter to all the souls being lost.
Okay.
I don't know how many souls he used, but let's see what else. And what I didn't what I didn't understand was when, let's call it the dwarf, right? Opens the he opens the Earth Gate, and then the big thing comes out. What is that thing? It seems
What
like
the
it's
what?
okay.
Dude, did we watch the same show? I'm so
Yes,
confused.
I'm pretty sure we did. Okay, so I think the whole plot of father opening or wanting the sacrifice is because he wanted to obtain knowledge, for sure. And in this case, it was knowledge of the universe, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think so. I think I kind of understand where if humans,
Oh, are you talking about when the heaven opens the gate and the dude comes
so
out of
no,
it?
heaven is still in space. It's
Yeah.
it's the dude on the Earth gate that opens. You know when the transmutation across the country opens up, and the
Hmm.
gate opens up, and the whatever
Yeah.
thing comes out. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
that thing is.
Oh,
It's
okay.
definitely embodying father or the
Yeah.
the dwarf, but like how did that happen? Because that doesn't follow the same rules as the human transmutation.
Bro, I don't
I
know. That
think
whole section, like I was just like, I'm running with what they're throwing at me, but I have no idea
I
what's
think the
happening.
first time I watched it or even read it, I was kind of the same way. But it's kind of interesting. So like, father was saying, sorry, the father. I want to call him the dwarf. That there's different truth or door levels. So as a human, you can only go so far with what you have to offer. And it seems like well, it seems like with whatever you can offer as a human, you're only gonna get enough knowledge that's gonna affect the earth or about the earth.
Okay.
But father was like, I want more, I want the universe.
Yeah.
So I guess so that's what he was trying to do. He wanted to use the sacrifices who already had knowledge of Earth. I don't know how much Earth knowledge there is.
Oh, because they would have had to go through the truth portal, so they would have gained whatever
Yeah,
knowledge from
so they
that. Okay.
had that knowledge, so that's why they made them more valuable
Yeah.
resources. So
Okay.
he sacrificed those people to open the universe gate,
Mm.
right? And that's where God was apparently, because he wanted God's knowledge, and that's why he would just pop out a fucking sun out of nowhere. Because the alchemists couldn't do that,
No.
but
Also,
we,
like, it only took 5 people to open universe door. Like, that seemed
yeah,
kind of crazy.
I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna argue.
But that,
I'm
I
not gonna
mean,
argue.
you're honestly making the show make more sense to me because I honestly, so much of that, I was just like, did I just like not pay attention? And I'm just like,
There were levels to that. I was like, oh
so,
wow.
yeah, so lost. So I was like, it kind of felt Evangelion esque, with like the angels and stuff like that at some point, where I was just like, dude, there's some religious stuff going on here, some subtext, and I just don't know it because I'm not religious in any way, and I'd have to like research it to get it. But no, that makes a
Oh,
lot of
you're
sense.
right. Okay, okay.
Um,
So that's why father loses control because Hohenheim took all the souls back, well, released all the
yeah,
souls, right?
yeah,
And
he gives them
so
back to
he
everybody, right?
lost
Yeah,
all that philosopher's stone energy to hold God,
yeah,
the universe God, or whatever truth universe that is.
so crazy.
And then so all he had left was his leftovers from
Xerxes.
Xerxes.
Yeah. So now that I'm like, rethinking that section, I mean, I don't know if I loved that fight either.
I didn't.
Yeah.
It was better in the manga.
Oh, was it? Why?
It's just I don't know with the art. I remember the scene where after what happened, something blows up and everyone's all scattered, and Ed is stuck. He's pinned, and he has got the little barb sticking out. Right. I think in the manga, it was just drawn a lot better.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never. I guess I should look up the manga because I haven't seen what artistically it looks like. Um,
It's similar, but then I
yeah.
think there's some places in the anime where it kind of like dips. You know where the budget was.
Well, it's so okay. I'm also just genuinely curious too. Like, I would love to at some point. We don't have to do it today. Discuss, I guess, what we consider like really good animation and like not good animation. Because I did
Mm,
rewatch the first episode of Attack the other day, and I was like, this is insane animation.
okay.
Like the fight scenes when they're like swinging through the woods, I was like, this looks so good. And I was like, remember, you're like, I don't know if I really like the animation of it. I'm like, damn, I'm like curious. I mean, it's
But
subjective.
I used the wrong
So,
word. The animation, yeah, I liked. But I think what I was referring to was that to me when I was reading the manga, I felt the manga was more written or drawn in a horror setting,
mhm,
whereas the anime seemed more of an action,
mhm.
and that's what I kind of didn't like.
Yeah, I think the anime has such an advantage for the action. Like, the fight, the swinging through the like the trees and stuff, like it just doesn't come off the page the same way that it does in an anime.
I agree. I fair. I mean, the swinging
Yeah,
is pretty cool, but like I wasn't there for the swinging through the trees. I was there for the horrifics. Like, though I remember that very early on in the city, they were just surrounded. They had no gas left, and they were gonna die. And
yeah.
they were all freaking out. They're almost turning on each other, and it was like not only just the art, but like the desperation I felt through through the art that I
Yeah.
liked.
I can't wait for you to read Berserk. You're gonna lose your goddamn mind. Um, okay, sorry, getting
A
off
little
topic, but
sidetracked. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that makes me really not love that. I didn't, I just didn't love a lot of the fights in this last
I
section.
wasn't. Yeah, I don't even have a good note on what fight I liked.
I definitely did like the envy fight.
That
Like
wasn't really a fight though.
it wasn't really a
Uh,
fight, but it was like cinematic. It was,
yeah, the way it went down was I liked it.
and it felt like a heavy moment, whereas I felt like the death of the Führer was like, haha, gotcha. I just was like, I don't know. I would have.
The Fear in my book is the MVP of the whole series, even though he was a homunculus,
In what? Why? In what sense?
because no one could stop him
Yeah, I mean, the only reason he got stopped was because he got
because they ganged
stabbed.
up on him. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was
Um.
old. I mean, even during the fight. Okay, this is what pissed me off during this. This is definitely plot armor. Not Scott. Scar,
I was like, what did I do?
Scar versus Bradley. Right?
Hmm.
Bradley had many chances to take down Scar,
Yeah.
and then Scar. I just don't like Scar because he doesn't. How does he know what he's doing with his alchemy? He he doesn't know anything about alchemy.
Hmm.
You're right. Okay, we trial and error with the destruction arm. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe. But now
Right.
he has
Yeah.
the other arm which creates where
Yeah.
you have no knowledge of that.
Yeah.
And two, we see throughout the series al- with alchemists that don't haven't gone through human transmutation, they have their own sigils drawn. Like Kimley has on his palm, Mustang has it on his glove. We even see Mustang like scratch it into his arm, right?
Yeah.
Bradley, all he had to do was just cut one little scratch on each arm and no alchemy scar.
Yeah.
I think that would have destroyed the whole reverse human transmutation plan.
I felt like I I don't know if I even go that far into it. I just am like, dude, you have had no training to construct. The deconstruct, I'm with you. I buy it. That's all
I'll
you
buy the
do.
destruction, yeah, the
You just break
deconstruction.
shit down, right?
Yeah.
But like the constructing, and not only constructing, but like really precise spikes going forward. Like,
Because the construction was actually three steps, right? It was the three steps of alchemy or construction. Because you had to I forgot what they were. You have to first destroy something and create. I forgot what the second one is. But he was just creating,
rearrange or something. I don't know.
rearrange. I don't remember. I should have
Yeah.
looked that up. But like he just skipped one of the steps, I felt like.
Yeah. I feel like it's like similar. Not. I guess I shouldn't say as similar because like when totally different series, but in Game of Thrones, spoiler alert if you haven't finished Game of Thrones.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
I just
For
don't
anybody else,
remember it.
for anybody else out there,
Cover
I
your
will let
ears.
you know. Yeah. When
Sorry.
Arya backstabs the whatever king, the Night King, I'm like,
Oh, I don't
that's such a
remember.
disappoint. She literally just like he walks into Winterfell with the tree, right, the God tree, and with all of his lieutenants, and Arya just jumps out of nowhere behind him and stabs him, and that's it. They all just crumble, and I'm like, we have spent 8 seasons, and you just out of nowhere are some like little girl, and you're just gonna jump, and a dragon didn't take that bitch down, but this little girl is going to like. So I felt kind of similar to the fear where it's like you've built this dude up, and I would have loved like this awesome like conclusion where a fight required all of them,
Yeah.
right? Like if it had been both the Armstrongs, Mustang, Riza, the Elric brothers, like that. If
Mm,
you tried to see them all trying to gang up to stop him because that's how strong he was, like
okay.
that would have been, I feel like, a way more
Fitting.
impactful fight. Like it would have felt like more hard earned.
Yeah, I see it. Yes, yes. Yeah, it was kind of a letdown the way he went, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and speaking of plot armor again, when he comes back on the bridge, right, and they finally uh kind of get him on the ropes a little bit, and he's hanging off. Let's see. Who So he's fighting greed, right? And they somehow get knocked off to the side of the bridge,
Oh
and they're
yes,
holding
yes,
it, right?
yes.
And then that brig soldier, you shit, dude. He, how did you not see the broken sword coming at you? How did you not see that? And
Yeah,
how'd you miss that shot? Three,
yeah,
why is there an open sewer gate leading straight into the military headquarters?
yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean,
I'm like,
was it always underwater? Right? Because
well,
it's
I
not like
think
some
there was
event.
a moat, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then like eventually drops down to the into the moat,
yeah,
and then like he looks over and like there's a sewer cage that's like
yeah,
open, like straight into military headquarters. That's gonna be
yeah.
wide open,
So you, but
and the plot.
okay. So if you had seen him swim over to it and bend the bars, would you have felt better?
Yes,
Fair
but
enough. Fair
two,
enough.
why is there even a sewer pipe there in a way
Well,
at the
I don't
front of
know.
the gate?
But yeah, but they probably need water, in like the fortress. I don't
Okay,
know.
fair. Maybe I thought of it too much.
I'm not. I'm not a plumber, bro.
I thought that was silly. I'm like, come on, man.
That one didn't bother me as much. I mean, I get it. I get where you're coming from. It didn't. It didn't super bother me. I just didn't. I didn't like how Buccaneer was able to get one off and stab him through another person. Like I just was like,
How
meh.
did a Buccaneer sneak behind food so well that he couldn't see him
Yeah, that's
with the ultimate eye guy?
yeah, that's more what I struggled with, and that's why I'm like, I didn't love how he went down in general, just because I'm like, this dude clearly wrecks people,
Yeah,
and I would have liked to have seen it and have to be like a really big team um, thing to have to try and bring him down. And I felt similar with Father. Like I didn't feel like Father was took a whole lot to bring down either.
yeah. I mean, they kind of got him with gotchas, and
Yeah,
then he eventually kind of. I felt like he kind of did himself in because
yeah,
he knew he was already like the dwarf. He knew he was already on the ropes. He had no
yeah,
energy, right?
yeah,
But there he is shooting this black ball of energy. We don't know what it is. And then he just creates humans with
yeah,
souls that he needs. We see the king, right? Going
yeah.
back to the black ball of energy, right? This guy now opening the universe gate with that and has that knowledge. What did you think that black ball was? Or yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like a just like a I don't want to say personification because that's not the right word.
No.
But like if it was like the cumulative knowledge somehow in a physical form. right? That's
Oh,
kind of what I assumed it as, but also I just am like, maybe it was just so short of a moment, but I'm like, you didn't do anything with that knowledge.
see, I would have, since he was able to create a
The
sun,
sun, yeah.
right?
Also, wouldn't that shit have like destroyed everything like instantly?
Gravity for one. I'm not even talking about the heat, you know. But like, why didn't he just shoot out gamma rays and eradicate everyone in his vicinity?
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen, and granted, maybe this would have just made him too powerful for too long, but like have a couple minutes with that knowledge and see what happened. It would have been more interesting if like that knowledge, he gets it and all of a sudden it's just too much. And he's just like, I can't, I literally like cannot
Well,
move.
that kind of was the point. That's why he needed all those souls.
No, I know, but I'm saying once he gets all that knowledge, if it was just kind of like information overload to such a degree that he like the thing that he wanted would have been the thing that brought him down,
Uh,
right? Like it
not
would have
his family. Yeah.
like I think of like Rogue, right? When she like tries to get somebody's power and she like almost kills them, right? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
I
Right,
guess
right.
saying that out loud that does seem very different, but
It does.
like I just
I was
imagine
trying to
like
go with it
the thing you get, right, being the thing that like creates the devastation, right? Like you finally get to the end line and it ends up becoming your
because that's
end.
the whole theme.
Yeah.
Um. Oh shoot! I forgot what to say.
Sorry, my rogue tangent just ruined you.
Oh, I forgot. It was It was regarding the dwarf.
You really hung up on this, huh?
I just felt like it was
Is it?
so
I wonder if it's.
underwhelming.
Do you remember feeling semi that way with the manga, or do you think the manga actually kind of describes it more?
No, I think the anime did a pretty good job there at the end. If anything, I think the translations I was reading back then might have been worse.
Mm,
So that's why I was kind of grateful that the anime came out.
yeah.
I think the translation were just a little bit better.
Okay.
I think back then too, I didn't quite understand what's going on.
Dude,
Like
I didn't
I
understand it
didn't
now, so
understand. I didn't understand the military plot. Like that was pretty interesting. I didn't understand like what was happening alchemy wise. Um. Oh yeah. Oh, this is weird. So like, okay, so they finally reveal how, well, kind of how the alchemy works, right? So in for alchemy, so alchemy, right? They they channel or follow the flow of energy.
yeah.
So it's the flow of chi.
Chi.
So for alchemy, is the energy of the tectonic plates shifting,
Mm-hmm.
and they reveal that Father the whole time was inhibiting that energy via his philosopher's stones. So that was the whole point with Scar and his brother's research finally enabling the reverse human transmutation, making all philosopher's stone energy nullified. So whatever Father was using to inhibit the alchemist was now gone. So now everybody was operating on 100% alchemy power. And like we got really no action out of that. It was like the same things.
Yeah, because I didn't feel like they were like, oh, there's a noticeable uptick in my
Yeah.
abilities.
Oh yeah, some guys were shooting rocks out of cannons. Like, great Ed. And I felt
Yeah.
like they really underused Izumi. Like Izumi had one role was being a housewife, and oh sorry, and a teacher, and a sacrifice. But when it came to like the dwarf fights, and that last couple episodes, they didn't really add anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Izumi didn't feel like a pivotal character. She felt like an important side character, but that was it.
Yeah.
And I mean that only in the sense of like important to Ed and Al's upbringing, not
Yep.
important to as like
Not to the
plot.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What did you like most about this section?
Ooh, I didn't think about this. How about you go first?
Um, I think it sounds ridiculous, but I just I appreciate that they wrapped everything up. Um,
As in, like, everyone got their happy ending, kind of.
you don't like that?
Oh, I don't mind it.
Oh, like yeah, like I feel like not even like happy ending, but like I felt like
The loops were closed.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had like general questions, like oh, like when are you gonna get married? What's Riza and Mustang gonna do?
Uh
But like
huh.
I felt like enough was answered that the things I was curious about were more just like slice of life questions rather than plot
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
I didn't understand everything, but I felt like it was concluded, right? Like I'm so glad that there was not like this last second cliffhanger moment that like father rose out of the air or something like that. I had the universe power to Palpatine my way back into this. Like I'm glad that there wasn't something like that.
Did you kind of understand what was happening with the dwarf at the gate?
No, I was watching those moments and just straight up internalizing just the visuals because I was like, I have,
Oh
and I
man.
don't know if it was just that maybe I wasn't paying attention 100%, and so like I'd missed something that would have explained. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you did watch 20 episodes. Or 24
20
episodes.
24
24
episodes 24
episodes.
episodes straight, yeah.
That's
So
a
like by
lot.
the end I feel like I was
You numbed out.
starting
Yeah.
to um yeah, but I also, like I said, I got very like, I don't think in the moment I thought about it, but like if looking back I'm like, oh, it's the kind of Evangelion-esque feelings. um and I don't know if that's more just tied to visual stuff, but I was just like, there is some craziness happening right here that I do not feel like I have all the pieces for. I feel like the last 10 episodes had so much happen
There was a lot in this last
and no
episode.
breath to like break down what
Uh
happened.
huh.
So like I feel like it genuinely, I feel like would take another watching through
I
of the
had
last 20 episodes or a third time through to really put those pieces together. And that's not always a terrible thing, but I feel like I shouldn't have walked out of it the first time and been like, I got no idea
yeah.
what happened there.
This time around, I had to rewind quite a bit. I'm like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, was there another scene that you liked? Another fight scene?
I mean, I like the Armstrongs versus the Sloth fight.
Oh, you
That
did?
that that one was probably one of my favorite ones.
Was it because Sloth just came out to be the fastest homunculi?
I
Homunculus?
I did enjoy that surprise, but it still was useless. Which I was like, okay,
Really
like he doesn't.
underused.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything with it. I feel like Sloth in general, I just is a conundrum to me because he doesn't embody Sloth at all outside of being like, I don't want to do this.
Oh,
Like I feel like he
yeah.
didn't like. It would have been crazier to me if like he did those really fast moves and then all of a sudden like took a ton of time to recover. But he's such a tank that
Oh,
it's like you could hit him a
yeah.
hundred times,
He
but
would
it
be
didn't do
almost
anything.
invincible at that point.
Yeah,
I think they were
like that.
trying to make him invincible, but like it didn't
Yeah,
work
but then he
out.
shot a rock pillar through his face.
Yeah,
It's
that
like so.
too.
I'm like, I mean, but I liked that. I mean, I was like, okay, like you're trying to come up with more interesting ways of how to stop this dude. But I think the first fight that she did, where she got gasoline on him and put him in the ice, was a much more
I thought that was clever.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a much more interesting way to kind of handle it. But I liked seeing the two of them kind of team up together. And I just generally like the Alex Armstrong, the brother, right?
Yeah.
That's his name, Alex, right?
Yeah, Alex is, yep.
Yeah. I liked his character a lot. He was probably like one of my favorites
I
of
think
the
that was
series.
the only scene he had that was a fight scene.
He has the one with Scar, but it doesn't.
It was
Not a
not even
ton
close,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I really liked that scene with him and Sig got together and they were like, yeah.
yes. Yeah. That was because it was fun and it's still kind of amazing. I mean, again, going out the conversation we had where Azumi is really a non-character to some extent. her husband even more so,
Even more,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like a freaking tank,
They're
you know?
like equals.
Yeah. So again, and I think that was just my problem with like the last section of this show is it just it's so interesting to me because like there was clearly moments like where we've talked about where like the break section felt slow,
Hmm.
right? Like it felt like those 10 episodes in the early 40s or whatever really felt sluggish. And then you had these last, 15-ish episodes that just
Dumped everything.
got so convoluted, so
Yeah.
complex, and tried to do so much so fast that I'm like, dude, like the pacing just it feels off here because I'm like, I'm not understanding,
Yeah.
and then I just had a boring section before that.
You really
So
couldn't like get on your phone and just look away for 2 minutes because
you
you
can't, dude.
couldn't
Like if I give anyone advice watching the show, I'm like, dude, at the end, like literally you have to be laser
focus.
focused. And like if anything, rewatch the episode if you don't understand it
Yeah,
before
either
moving on to
way.
the next one.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think having someone kind of walk me through and explaining those moments, I'm like, oh, like I can put the pieces together now. And now I feel like if I rewatch it, I'll get it. But yeah, at the time I was like, I'm just here for the ride.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Sorry you felt that. Like I said, like I felt the same way when I first watched it or even read it, and
Yeah,
I didn't even bother going back to try it. Well, maybe I did, but like I didn't. It didn't make sense until like this time. This time around.
yeah.
What?
And I don't know if that's like I can't say that's like a bad thing because you don't want to treat your audience like they're stupid. So like you want to give them ideas that they are willing to research, but I do think there's a point at which you need to find that line of like how much explanation you need to be
Yeah.
giving. So
What do you think of that about Pride's fight, last fight?
now I'm trying to remember Pride's last fight.
Salem, him and Ed went at it.
How does he beat Salim?
I thought it was really dumb, honestly. So I think Ed had him on the ropes, and he was about. I forgot, how did he get him tripped up? I forgot.
Is it like the flashbangs or something?
No, so that was another stupid thing with Bradley when the eclipse was going away, and he had like Scar on the ground. Bradley had his swords next to his eye, and the eclipse came out, and the sun came through, hit the sword and into his eye, and he flashed out. So dumb. You gonna let Bradley go out like that, man? That shit. Anyways, going back to Salim. How did he get tripped up? Okay, he was like standing over Ed. Oh, here it is. I think he was just about to beat down Ed, but Salim, he was beat down too because of the human transmutation he forced on Mustang.
Mm.
So his container was opening up, and the real his pride was essentially pride was coming out. And I was like, oh, I want your body now. We're technically blood, just as the dwarf, so that's why I'm compatible with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it. And then Kimley comes up in the back, and he's laughing at Salim. I think he throws him off. By the way, this scene really shows how psychotic he is. Kimley is psychotic. I changed my previous statement. He's a psycho. It was like, how are you able to stay, maintain your thoughts and maintain your sanity through all this anguish, souls? And he's like, oh, these are just lullabies to me. They don't affect me at all.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then somehow he stopped sailing. Sorry, Pride in his tracks. Essentially talking down on him. It's like, hey, you're this prideful homunculus, but now here you are. You're gonna go take a human's body because you're afraid of dying. And somehow, freezes him up. And then Ed comes in, converts his soul to philosopher energy, punches him in his soul, and ends his body. I'm like, what? What was the point of that?
I literally feel like I have to rewatch that because
Well, I literally watched it like an hour ago, so it's fresh.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, clearly that's how important it was to me that I don't even remember it.
But like,
Like,
okay, it was stupid. Like, why? Okay, I think by now, I think we can understand. Perceive human transmutation as like not human transmutation. More, it's more of soul transferring. That's the only way you can use it. But it's
mhm.
somehow attached to the truth, to the gate. So when you do that, you're somehow going to the gate. Um, so that's so now Ed is like able to convert his soul to energy.
Yeah,
But like,
but
remember,
he also did that a little bit earlier.
yes, on himself,
Yeah,
which is I'm fine with him being able to do it.
yeah,
But remember that scene where Envy comes out and hunts down Marco
hmm
in the north,
hmm
and they trap him, and essentially Marco not overpower he pretty much disables or disables Envy. No, not disables. Not
yeah.
almost
But
wipe.
that isn't. But that's because May is creating the landmines
Right, but
remotely.
those landmines weren't doing anything. What Marco did, he used the reverse human transmutation circle on Envy, and and that makes sense now because we now know that reverse human transmutation circle nullifies the philosopher's stone energy, which are what homunculi are made of out of. So Ed knows this. Why didn't he just do that on Pride instead of converting his soul to energy to give him a punch in his soul? Whatever I don't know what he did in his soul. Honestly, I thought that was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I like don't even know. There's just so much that went down, and then I'm just like,
Oh man,
bruh. I feel like I picked up on like 80% of it, and then my brain lost, just blacked out
so
10%,
you
and then
watched too
just didn't
much.
understand. I don't even know if it was like that was too much. I feel like honestly, yeah,
24
okay,
episodes is a
yeah, you're
lot.
probably right. It was probably too much, but I feel like I honestly the moments I felt like were important, I remembered, in the parts I was like, man, like I get that Pride
uh,
dying and being done is important, but like it didn't feel impactful.
I feel like Pride should have been up there in terms of what's that word? Danger, dangerous. I can't think of another word.
100%. I mean,
Like he should have
he
destroyed everybody by himself,
yes, agreed.
especially
Yeah.
when he came back out of nowhere, rips the chimera apart that was holding up the go-to scientist. He
I
should have
mean,
came down and just cut
yeah.
everyone up.
I actually thought it was an interesting ploy that he could not leave Central within that circle until the outside one was done. Right. So like
Oh,
I felt like that was the one good way to limit him
yeah,
until
yeah,
then. But yeah, as soon as that happened, he should have just absolutely wrecked.
yeah. Because like after that scene with Al, they essentially just all run away because you can't fight him. So Pride's
Yeah.
just like hanging out. Like
It would have been cool though if he kind of did like the reverse vampire thing where he was like, "No, I can't be in darkness because he needs light, right, to be the
to make a
shadows."
shadow. Yeah, yeah.
So like
I
it would have
thought
been
that was the
cool.
point.
Yeah, so it would have been cool if like the way to take him out was to like kind of what they did with the dome,
Yeah.
and then just
Leave him
continue
in
to
there.
go at him, right? So
Yeah.
like why like why didn't Alphonse? I guess just because Al doesn't want to kill people, but could have just killed him inside that dome or
He
whatever.
could have killed him, or he could have entrapped him again. But they just left him. Good
Yeah,
job, Al.
yeah. See, Al sucks. No, I'm
Al
just
sucks. I believe he sucks.
kidding. How do you feel after you bought those two well, not figures, I don't know what you call them.
Oh, I would call little figures.
Do you still feel as attached to them as you did in the moment where you bought them?
Yes, it's still a little. It's still my top 10.
It's still okay. So that's a good segue there. After finishing this anime, you would still put it in the top 10 of all anime you've watched.
I think it will be like number 10, honestly.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it is so seemingly universally in like a top 5,
And I think
right? Like,
okay, you
but no, go ahead.
you
Go
made a
ahead.
good point. Probably off stream how when it came out, it was very different from anything we've
Hmm.
seen. So I think that's why for me it just kind of stuck there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's when I like, even when I equate it to some of the other classics, right? Like, you will never catch me being the first person to prop up Cowboy Bebop as like the best thing ever, because I don't love series that are very loose in a singular narrative. Like Cowboy Bebop is a very philosophical show where like each episode really digs into something different,
Uh,
and I can really appreciate that. But to me, I will never choose that as like my favorite series. Um, but I think I would still easily say Cowboy Bebop is better to me than this. Um,
I can't even finish Cowboy Bebop.
but so like Cowboy Bebop, right? Like I said, like if you dig into the philosophies of what each episode is, it's actually really impactful.
Even from episode one,
Yeah, I mean, episode 1 I really enjoyed,
for
right? With
me,
like
it was it's that episode where I think what's the main character's name? The one with the hair,
Spike.
Spike. I think he's going after this dude who has a wife, and they're smuggling
Yeah, the
drugs.
drugs. That's episode 1.
I think was that episode one.
It is, yeah. And it's like she looks pregnant, but it's really all the
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah. Oh shit! I thought that was later.
No, it's episode 1.
I thought that was kind of had some deep meanings behind that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure it did. Like, and that's like,
Oh, what am I? Okay.
I really feel like, and I'm sure I might get crucified for this, but I really enjoyed part of the live action series because it actually explained Spike's backstory with Vicious.
Oh, I
And I
didn't see them.
really, yeah, and I really feel like that was missing from the anime, where, because like the anime, it just felt like, oh, here's some random bounty that they're working on this episode, and here's another random bounty
Yeah,
that they're
yeah,
working
yeah.
on the next episode. And there was a slight arc with him trying to find Julia, but it really did not feel like this consistent forward progression. And I felt like if they had taken a piece from the live action for that forward progression and the backstories
Mm-hmm.
and brought that into the anime, it would have made it so much more solid for me. Now, how the live action finishes is, to me, terrible. Um, they really changed things, and I'm like, why? That choice doesn't fully make sense to me.
That's
But I
right.
won't. I won't dig into it to explain it. Um, but still, at the end of the day, I'm not even going to say Cowboy Bebop is like in my top 5. But I would still put Cowboy Bebop ahead of
Over.
this.
Ah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like Neon Evangelion is probably 1 for me.
I can absolutely see that. Seeing how we
Yeah.
geeked out at
In Kyoto, yeah.
what was the studio?
It was like Toy Studio.
Toy. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, because I feel like Neon Evangelion will go as deep as you want it to dig to it. Like it literally is so layered that if you just want to watch straight up the action of what it presents to
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you can get that from it. But if you want to dig into the philosophical and religious
And
natures
Samach,
of
yeah.
how far that thing goes, it's there.
I do agree with you that because I'm not religious. I don't know anything about the Bible or whatnot. I feel like you need a little bit of that knowledge to kind of understand the ending because they're referencing something. There's some
Yeah.
like
Well, like, so Sile is supposed to be like attached to knowing the future, and there's all these like Judaic symbols. I mean, all the angels are named from
yeah.
like angels from the Bible and stuff. So yeah, like I remember when I last watched the series, I started looking into it, and then I read the manga that was not made first. It was like made similar time, I guess, is what
Oh,
it kind of seems
interesting.
like. Yeah, they were made like at the same-ish time.
Okay.
At the back of each one of the mangas, it dug into some of those religious texts and natures of how it
Oh,
responded.
it
So
give
like
you a little.
yeah, and so going from there, then I read more, and started picking up on it even more. And then I
Okay.
rewatched it, and then I watched the movies. So like I had this whole like probably 3 to 4 month period where I was like consuming Evangelion in some way every day. So like for me, yeah, like that I loved. It just really spoke to me, not in a religious way, but in like a how far. I just thought the fact that you could have that story be like completely understandable to you without even having any of that philosophical nature.
Okay.
And then if you wanted
Yeah.
all of it, it was there. And I'm like, that is like wildly impressive. Whereas I felt like with this, I was like so lost at the end where I
Um,
was like, I don't know what's happening, but maybe I felt that way the first time with Evangelion.
I
So
gotta
I don't
pick
know.
your brain because like I still don't see. I don't see what makes Evangelion that. I don't see why it's so high on your list.
I think for one, and this is maybe just like more personal for me, but like I went through not anywhere near what Shinji goes through, but I went through like a weird period of time where like I had like this unreasonable depression to me, seemingly, right?
Okay.
Where I was just like, dude, I don't have some reason to feel this way. And Shinji does. Shinji has anxiety and fear because he's being asked
Is
to save the world as a 14-year-old
fair.
kid by being in extreme danger. I did not have that, but I felt like how he was responding to things felt very rational to me. And I found it interesting that everybody felt like he was being irrational when in
Mm-hmm.
reality I was like, he's the only one being rational. He is terrified to do these things. He was never trained to be in that mech. He is 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like his emotional experience
Uh-huh.
was very well done in that show. And I don't think a lot of animes actually really dig into that in a to me at least a successful way of explaining pretty real uh, mental health issues while in
I
this
see. Yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I do agree that there was you. I could. You can kind of see it. I can't say I'm gonna know how that feels like, right? But
Yeah.
like, yes, it's very reasonable. I know I talk shit about it. Like, I, I
He's
still,
the most hated
I
character in
still
all of
think
anime,
he's a little
apparently.
bitch.
I
But
get it.
I
I feel like that's so like relational though to other animes because you see the
well,
animes we watch are about people being badasses,
yeah,
especially being young.
it's not that. I know where you're coming from, but it's not that. It's more the whining. But it
Mm.
could be like a preteen thing, or it could be one of those things where like, yeah, I look back at myself and like, fuck, I used to maybe whine like that too. What a little bitch.
Yeah,
You know?
if you're watching Demon Slayer, like
Uh-huh.
when Zenitsu whines, it annoys the shit out of me, right? But at the same time,
Yeah.
Zenitsu is a
Yeah.
straight up baller the second he's out cold. So
Which is, I don't know. Okay, sure.
yeah, but so like I don't. But also, it's not even just with Shinji though, because I think from a competitive nature, I saw how Asuka is in my life. Like when I was traveling for fencing all the time, like being like I have to be the best, and the second I'm not the best, who am I? Right? Like I feel like she personifies
Oh,
that super
okay.
well. Misato, having like parental trauma, like all of these
Best
characters.
girl.
Yeah, I mean, all these characters go through really like wild experiences that are very believable,
I
and I
see.
felt like the story just did a good job being real. I do still love the animation style of it though too. Like I really love '90s
Yeah,
animations.
there's. Oh man, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like that it's like almost just like a classic look,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
They kind of explain it, and when it's
Yeah,
done well like that, it's real nice to look at.
yeah.
So we were talking about live action, or you were talking about live action earlier, about Cowboy Bebop. Have you seen the
Mm.
live action for Fullmetal Alchemist on Netflix?
Mm-mm. It's on Netflix.
Yes, on Netflix.
Interesting. No, I have. I've seen the Yu Yu Hakusho one, but I
Three
haven't.
movies,
3 movies. Okay.
and
So have
actually,
you watched
I
them?
have.
Okay.
I hate all of them.
You hate why do you hate them?
Tacky,
Like just visually tacky or like writing
visually
tacky?
tacky. I think visually. I know Netflix does this weird thing when they do live actions of animes, popular animes. Their costumes are always so clean, and
Hmm.
it's just I get it. You want to be true, but like just be realistic here. No one's
Yeah,
gonna wear that bright ass red coat down in the desert.
yeah.
You
Have you
know?
seen Firefly?
No, I haven't. I heard that's really
No,
good.
it's amazing. It's one season and it's
Because they
so
canceled
good.
it, right?
Well, the cast, but also like okay, so when I think of
Well,
like,
it's 2 seasons.
is it two? I thought it was one in a
I
movie.
thought, oh, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's one season in a movie. But so like I look at like the live action for Cowboy Bebop. I look at, and it's not just Netflix. I look at Wheel of Time and like Rings of Power.
Wheel of
It's the
Time.
same It's the same
Wheels of
argument you're
Time.
making where the costume stuff it doesn't look real. Whereas if I watch Firefly, it's
Huh.
a sci-fi western,
Okay.
and visually, oh man, it slams. It
Really?
is so good. Like it fits. Like it looks exactly how I feel like it would look.
Okay. I feel
And
like
it's
Rings
just
of
not.
Power does a pretty good job too. No, I liked it.
It's too
It
shiny.
never draw. Oh,
It's
maybe.
too clean.
I
It's
think there's
too
some place.
CGI visual. Like
Okay.
that's why I think the Lord of the Rings movies were so good, is because it was way less CGI and way more practical.
Okay.
And like even the greens, like it felt like normal greens. It didn't feel like this just clean pop color. And I feel like that Amazon, because Amazon does both Wheel of Time and
Yeah.
Rings of Power, it really feels that way for both of those. And I'm just like, these don't look lived in. These look like they just got made today, and you put them on.
Mm, okay.
So I
Okay.
feel that way with both of them. Or yeah, and it was the same thing with Cowboy Bebop for Netflix. It just didn't feel. It felt fake.
Gotcha. Um, I did like Bleach though.
I haven't seen that.
That
I saw the
remake.
Rurouni Kenshin movies, which I thought
Oh,
were
they're
okay.
good. I thought they were okay.
Yeah,
But I hated how Netflix released them out of order.
yeah.
That was a bit silly.
I haven't watched all of them. But I remember.
There's only three.
I think there's isn't there. I think there's four.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's four. I could be wrong, but I think there's
Oh, I
four.
think there's three.
Um, we can Google it, but
Yeah.
the thing that drove me nuts with that was the Obinaban clan leader just was like unreasonably psychopathic in the movie. Like just crazy, not like scary, but like just ridiculous.
Oh, which boss was that? Which season are you referring to?
It's like the season one guy, um, who has like the minigun.
Yes.
Yeah, he just is like a cracked out dude
I
in the
know.
movie,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's a cracked out dude in the show, but way more reasonable amount of cracked out dude.
Gotcha. I guess I forgot how it went in the manga.
So he fights all the
Oh,
Obinaban
wait.
clan
Was
guys,
that
but
like
the leader
was that the
doesn't. First season.
No, no,
Yeah,
like
it's
the
the first like
first
main
villain?
boss.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But there's it's kind of like a dual villain, right? Because there's the guy who ends up becoming good, who's the sword fighter, and then there's the boss who is funding everything for like the Opium clan, and he's the one that just was ridiculous, not the other guy.
Oh, it's almost like I gotta reread it again. That's a
Um,
good manga.
I've never read the manga.
Yeah, have you?
I started watching the remake, and it's weird.
Oh yeah?
I think I'm only like 5 or 6 episodes through
I
it.
haven't gotten into it yet. I know I think the original animations don't go all the way with the manga. What the
Oh,
movie I think
really?
the movies do, yeah. So
Well,
the
the
remake
second
go ahead.
the second story goes fucking ever in the show.
Oh, which one is that one?
What's the
Is
villain's name?
that the
Shio or something like
Shio,
that.
the one with the bandages? It
Yeah, that it is the longest effing arc.
I think it stops there.
It goes slightly past him. It goes
Does it go?
to yeah, it goes to like the religious group after him.
Oh, yes. Okay. I all the like the specialist or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. I was just like, okay.
That did take a lot of time.
I liked the end with Shio. It
Yeah,
took forever to get there, but I liked
yeah.
that end. And then after that, I was just like, the
I think it
show.
was a training arc right in the middle of that in that arc too.
Yeah, there's 4 movies.
This four? Oh,
Yeah,
suck it, Steven.
yeah, because there's Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning, which honestly, funny enough, was the last one. Um,
Well, because it is the beginning,
yeah, yeah, but like
but it is the
it
last.
happens after, or it happened. I think it came out. It says it came out the same year as Rurouni Kenshin, the final, which I find
That they
funny.
couldn't have a better like naming system. Come on,
Yeah, they
help us
needed it to
out.
be. Yeah, they needed it to be. But you said the Bleach movies are good.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, they're okay. They're
I just found them.
better.
I just found them enjoyable. But same issue, a little too clean. Well, not that bad though. Not honestly.
Yeah, I've yet to see an anime live action. I feel like they just choose crappy ones to do though too.
Yeah, a little too hard. Like maybe start off a little easier and then work your way
Like
up.
they could have done Death Note, but they absolutely obliterated that.
I haven't even seen it, and I'm glad I haven't.
Don't ever watch it, and it sucks because it's like you don't even need Ryu could be the only time that you really needed CGI,
Yeah,
right? And you could do that. There's so many ways they could have gotten away with that, but they like L is or Light, sorry, not L. Light is the kid who gets the notebook,
yeah.
and he is
Yeah.
extremely smart. Like he's
Yes.
testing like the best out of all of Japan in terms of like standardized score testing and all that stuff, right? And his motivation in Death
It's
Note, the
justice.
manga, yeah, is to create a world without crime. In the movie, it's he does it to impress a girl. And I'm like, you
No,
completely
missed the whole character.
yeah, like you
Oh,
completely took
it
away
cheapened it so much.
motivated the most inspired character,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just it was so stupid, and I was just like, how did you miss the ball that hard? Like it just blew my mind, dude. It really did. And I
Oh
was just like,
wow.
because the first season of Death Note is perfection. Like it is one of like Death Note is in my top 3, and that's even with the second season
It's
being
it's
hot shit.
it's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there
So,
for sure.
so like that to me is like, and that would have been a really easy one to do, I think. Live action Zom 100 I also think would be, and I think they've done a Japanese live version of it.
Did
um
they?
yeah, yeah, there's a movie, but I would love to see like an actual like Western high budget Hollywood movie made of that, because it's a zombie movie, right? So, or a
Yeah,
zombie
it'd
show,
be pretty
so like,
simple.
and I remember did I text you about it when it was first coming out? I don't remember if I had the conversation with
I know
you.
you asked me about it recently, but I don't know if you
Yeah,
sent me one before that. I don't know.
be,
I don't think we got. I probably didn't watch it at that time.
yeah, because I remember when I first watched it. Oh my gosh, I was just like not loving my work life, and I was like, I am feeling this kid so hard right now. I was like, yes, I don't have to go to work. I don't even give a shit if the world is over. Like I was just like, oh man, I have never related to some like a character in a show more than this, and
I
I just loved it.
I felt like him being that carefree, he should have died already. They
But
just
I think it's a comedy though.
yeah. I think I looked
It's
at
not
it
meant to be
too. I
serious.
looked at it too seriously. Yes.
Yeah. And I think you could change that, right? If you did a live action, you're like, I don't want it to be comedic, you could definitely alter that, and that would be a believable choice.
Have you seen? Oh, Al. Oh shoot.
Oh, Alice in Borderland.
Yes.
I have not, but I've heard I need to.
Yes, you do need to. It
Yeah,
is off of a manga, but I think they like went a different direction with it,
yeah,
and I think it's still good. It's still good regardless.
yeah.
But going back to Zon 100, I think it would be the same style.
Okay. I don't know anything about Alice in Borderland, so
Oh right, okay. I don't know what Zon 100. Would it be on Amazon Netflix? The live
uh the
action?
For Zom 100,
Yeah,
it might. Yeah, let's find out.
we can always try and VPN into it.
Zom 100
But
movie.
Japan or maybe other countries have gotten very smart with the VPNs on Netflix.
I haven't really toyed with it too much, but
They
I feel like with all these like streaming services
yeah
starting to upcharge, people are just going to start getting crazy with how they get.
they don't
Yeah,
give
it
you
is on Netflix.
subtitles.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's the anime. Shoot.
Uh,
Um, let's see here. Da-da-da-da-da. Come on. Type like where to watch. Sorry, you're probably hearing my keyboard. I'm trying to like do it quietly.
my
Uh,
nose.
it looks like it is on the Netflix for the
Oh,
movie. I'm hesitant. It says watch movies, so. Oh, yeah, it is.
hmm.
Interesting. Yeah. So I haven't watched the movie yet of that, but I do feel like that would be another translatable one to go. But I mean, this could be a whole topic. Like, what animes do you think should be made into
Yeah,
live action movies?
that's a
Because
topic there.
I feel like it's such a shit argument that some people are like, you shouldn't try any anime. I'm like, there are definitely translatable ones. Like, obviously, non fantasy ones, like, to work, but, like, there's so many that I feel
Yeah.
like Princess Mononoke, I feel like would work to a live action. Wow. You should actually be embarrassed at this point. You haven't seen Princess Mononoke?
Oh, wait, is that the one with the bugs, the ohms? No, okay, never mind.
Bugs. It's a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah, I actually saw my first one on Tuesday. I mean, it was
What?
yeah, it was the one with the ohms,
The
the
Ohms?
bugs, the with the girl princess. What
Yeah.
did I see?
I mean, Princess Mononoke is definitely a girl princess.
Yeah, and there's the ohms, there's the bugs.
How do you pronounce, or how do you spell
OHM,
ohms?
like a ohm, like a resistor ohm.
Omu.
Oh, really? In the subtitle, it just read ohms.
It's from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Oh, that's the one I saw.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
That was my first one. And the only reason why I saw it is
Interesting
because,
choice for that one.
well,
For
it was
first.
because they're releasing his movies in theaters.
Yes. Well,
So
they've been doing that for a while.
yeah,
Like every year OMSI does, they show the 3 or 4 of them on the IMAX screen.
so I'm only just now catching up, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather just wait to see it in theaters than to stream them online.
Oh, that's so hard because they're all on Max. So, but like
I'm thinking about
Howl's
getting
Moving
Max.
Castle, man, changed me.
I know I missed that in theaters. That's silly of me. I should have made time to watch
Yeah,
that.
like most people think Spirited Away is their favorite, and
That one too.
I think it's my third of the 3. Like I think it's like Mononoke and Howl's are like I can't do 1 or 2 for those. Like they're both just too good.
Okay.
And then it's Spirited Away for me as the third one, but yeah. Trying to think. All right, so last kind of thoughts on the series. Out of all the episode chunks, where do you put this last 10?
Oh man, this last 10 I really appreciate because I think to what you were asking before or saying before, it finally reveals everything.
Yeah.
How alchemy works, what the dwarf was doing, who the dwarf was. But I feel like it's so easy to say, oh yeah, the ending was great because everything was all the action and all the information was already out.
I mean, it's from an entertainment standpoint, right? It you know, just because it is the conclusion. I mean, things have ended poorly in other shows.
uh, I would have to say the last section.
What do you mean? What do you mean the last section?
Oh, sorry, the last chunk.
Like the 50 to whatever.
What did we just do? 53 to 64.
Okay, so you're thinking the chunk before that. the 30
No,
for or
this
40 to 50.
this last chunk.
This last, okay, so you think the last 10, 12 episodes
Yeah.
were the top for you?
Yes.
Okay.
How are you?
No.
Clearly, no.
It was just too much. It was too. I mean, I really did love the last episode because I felt like, okay, I finally got my breather after all those episodes. But I think I was too let down by the fight with Bradley. I was too confused with what the fuck is happening. That's maybe that's not on the show. That might just have been on me. So I won't fully disgrace the show for that one. I don't know. I think it solidified my opinions, if anything else, instead of change them for the better.
Okay.
Is I think how I came away from the series. So I still think my favorite section was the
first
10 to 20.
Oh,
not the first 10, the second 10.
What was the 10 to 21 again?
It was the lust fight, right? Because they finally started putting some of the pieces together.
Yeah.
And things were starting to happen, and chaos was starting to get, and like a lot of mystery was starting to build. And then that fight, which that was like, I really liked the Envy fight, but it was literally Lust 2.0.
I think like we'd already the last time we saw Lust.
That too. I want to know so much more. Again, another character that was way underutilized. I think I think maybe it's unfair, but I think because it just kind of finalized my judgments. That I was already feeling towards the show. Like, I think I was waiting for the aha moment where I was like, okay, this is why everyone rates this so highly. And I don't think I got there.
Okay.
You know, and so I think that's where I struggled with it. But
I don't think I had that feeling either. I didn't have like this is what I missed.
Yeah. And maybe that's so unfair to do to the show. Like, I don't know. And again, I think part of it is just this sounds terrible, but like I'm maybe weighing it against current anime, and I felt like
it's tough.
The end of Attack on Titan to me was like, goddamn, you know. Okay. So like, I think I didn't come away from this with that feeling. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. It wouldn't have. It's it's probably in the middle of the pack for me in terms of like the series of episodes, but like we've already kind of said, I think this anime finishes probably in the top 20 to 25 for me.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I was clearly pulled through it. But I don't know if it's a show outside of wanting to maybe more deeply understand the last 10 episodes that I would ever rewatch.
Yeah, I would probably just rewatch the last 10 again.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's all I got for this. Going forward, we are not doing the gaming stream this week.
Sorry.
We're still trying to figure timing out on that. It probably won't happen next week either, it sounds like. So I will probably do some single player streams for a little bit, just kind of test things out. I don't know if it'll be the same playthrough style that I'll do with you, but I am as of right now I'm running an Esdeath type build where it's like a dexterity rapier plus cold spells build.
Oh, okay.
So that's my goal, and I guess I'm just kind of working on that. I want to do guts, but I'm so bad with heavy weapons in that game that maybe that will be like another try somewhere down the line. Okay. But for now, I'm curious to see how the Esdeath thing goes, and then. Have you thought about that? Are you going to try and run it, you think, like an anime character? Or are you just going to be like, I'm just going to
go
run through?
Yeah. It'll be my first playthrough.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully you do something tanky because I will be squishy as hell, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want to do, and I'll just actually get good at the game. Uh-huh. So, either way.
You've seen it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm actually really curious because, like, I don't know if we'll be OP because of the two of us, or if I'll be bad enough that it won't be.
Does the game not scale?
Not in seamless co-op, but the thing is, when you're solo, they're called like summons. I don't know what that.
Oh yeah,
I think ashes or whatever, and they can get really OP. So I don't think having a second player, if anything, it might be harder. Because it scales health wise for the bosses when you
Okay.
have a second player. It does scale in that way. Um, but yeah, like I just am. I don't know if I feel like realistically having a second player probably is a little bit easier than using summons, just because I would know best when to do a health pod or when to do a spell, and
Oh,
we can
okay.
communicate and things like
Yeah.
that. But some of them are really OP for like there's like a someone called the Mimic tier where it literally copies you and just it makes a second one of you,
Oh.
but it doesn't, again, it's not like so smart that it knows exactly when to do health pots. It'll still do it, but like it's not the same, and it has the exact same move set as you. So like having opposite move sets would be nice.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll play around with that. We'll see how that goes. We'll figure that timing out. Um, the other thing is next week, if Steven is available, we're probably going to do a non-show topic, so it'll be something more generalized. And then have we fully on I mean, I know I bought Attack on Titan, but have you decided if we're gonna continue with Attack on Titan, or are you still kind of
Ooh,
thinking?
I'm still kind of thinking. I
Okay.
want to get through the manga, but I don't know if that's good. I don't know if I should just straight into that anime.
Well, like I said, I think it'd be kind of interesting if we reversed it, right? So like
I
if
would like to do that. Yeah.
yeah, so if I read the manga while you're reading or watching the anime, it would be interesting to see how that connects. But
Hmm.
again, it's up to you. We have at least a week to figure that
Yeah.
out. And then I will also include the link on this video for our shop. We have one T-shirt. It's like
Hell
the dictionary
yeah.
definition of Weebonomics. I will the next time we stream, I will wear it. I stupidly wore it to the gym the other day, and it's soaked in sweat. So I'm like not gonna
Nice.
wear that right now. So yeah. So next time we stream, I will. I promise I will wear that. And yeah, we have some other exciting stuff in the works that I'm currently communicating with people about. I will let you know more when we continue on. And eventually, Steven will make Winry's apple pie, probably like in two
Sometime
years.
once I figure
We'll,
out technology.
we'll find out and go from there. But is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we take off?
No, I think we kind of covered everything you wanted to cover.
Yeah. So good. If you had to rate this series on a 1 to 10 score, we'll leave that as our sign off. What would you give to the show?
Oh man, Full Metal. Oh, it's so hard because I'm kind of comparing it to what's out now. In my personal opinion, I will give it oh, do I want to say 7.5? 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I feel like I'm giving the good old IGN 7,
A
where I'm
7.
like, yeah, like I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
It was okay. I don't know if I'll come back to it. Right. Like
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it. Not and in no way, shape, or form does that mean it's bad.
Right.
I think it was. I'm glad I watched it because I think it's pivotal to the community to have watched it, and I appreciate the things that it did. But I think I'm off to better places now. So, all right. Well, we'll sign off there. We'll see you hopefully next week. If not, it'll definitely be at least me for the stream next week, and we will communicate more going forward of what's next. So hopefully we will see you soon.
Bye.
All right, man.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.